what we want to look at today is a little bit of the strategy around, I guess, why do things fizzle out and how can we change that up? And then also some other kind of bugbears around dating, because it can be hard to know, I think, especially in the world of online dating, when's the right time to ask her out? When and how should I communicate in a way that's more flirtatious with her? How can I make her more excited about getting to know me? So we want to look at some tools that you can use there to create that for you, with the ultimate goal of actually, particularly the online dating side of things, starting to feel just a little bit more rewarding for you. So you don't feel like you've had to fight hard just to get some matches. And then those matches, she, sends you a few kind of half-hearted responses and it turns into nothing. Because what's going to make you feel more excited about your dating life is to start to see some of those interactions spark, convert into real life dates with women who you're attracted to, who you're excited to get to know better. And what I want to really help with is, how can I help you to really stand out compared to perhaps other guys that she might be messaging? So the first problem I'm going to look at tonight is, I think, a really super common one that guys face, which is, my messages always fizzle out. So for instance, this could be, you match with some women, you maybe have a few exchanges back and forwards, but slowly they kind of stop responding, or their responses become lamer and never really goes anywhere. So my question to you is, why do you think it is that messages fizzle out? So that's question one. Why do you think some messaging interactions fizzle out? And is there anything that you could do to solve that? And of course, sometimes it's going to be nothing that you could do, but are there some strategies that you could employ here to stop your messaging interactions from fizzling out? So John says they're boring, and generic. So I think John brings up a really good point. Tayson says the timing, the amount of messages from other guys, maybe a boring opener, boredom, dull, run out of things to say, not engaging. Okay, so we know the issue with having kind of boring small talk in your conversations is it becomes extremely difficult for her to distinguish, why should she spend time and effort messaging you compared to those other guys. John's also given a great example here. The quintessential message for this was, how was your weekend? Now, if she has 10 guys messaging her, how was your weekend on a Monday morning? How is she supposed to know why you're so special and so interesting? So part of this is going to be stylistic. It's like, how at every stage of the interaction can you choose to communicate with her in a way that's different compared to how the majority of guys would interact with her? So a simple thing could be, look at your first message, your icebreaker message. Two things around that. One, have you picked the most interesting detail to comment on? Or have you gravitated towards commenting on the same detail as you think every other guy has commented on? Secondly, the structure of your first message. Does your first message begin, hey, Anne, how's it going? Are even the first words kind of predictable and too similar to everyone else? Is there a way that you could change up that word order on your first message to make it stand up more? So yes, not standing out to her is going to be a big issue. And also another issue that you guys rightly mentioned is not creating enough momentum and exiting the interaction earlier. And later on in this webinar, we're actually going to be looking at a few examples of how you can try and translate a relatively normal conversation into one that would legitimately lead to a date. So we should all know, in the world of online dating, there's a couple of big no-nos. One of those big no-nos is asking a woman out on a first message, saying something like, you look really great. How about we grab a coffee sometime? That wouldn't work, because for a woman to want to go on a date with you, whether this is a woman you're chatting to in real life or online, she has to be, to a degree, invested in that interaction. By invested in that interaction, I mean she has to be contributing something to it. If she feels that you would just ask her out because she's good looking, even if she's saying the most boring responses, or even worse, isn't responding at all, this sends a very negative signal out about your value as a guy. So it's kind of showing her, you know what, I don't care if you aren't contributing anything, because I'm attracted to you, I'm going to keep asking you out. So we don't want to do that. We always want the ask out to be based in something that she's contributed. Now, you might think, well, that's great, Hayley. But what if she's contributing nothing exciting at all? And we're going to look later on about how you can change. You could at least give her the opportunity to say something engaging and exciting to you. However, there is also the equal and opposite problem, which is you talk and talk and talk and talk and talk, but you're not quite sure when's the right moment to ask her out. So you hold back. And then because it's just very difficult to sustain an exciting conversation with somebody you don't know online, the interaction gets boring, it loses momentum, and she loses interest in it. It's very important, I think, in the world of online dating to remember this maxim, which is enthusiasm has a half-life. It means even if you match, she seems really engaged, you can bet your bottom dollar that enthusiasm is not set to last, because it's human nature that it will run out. Imagine that day that she matches with you, if she's messaging you a lot and seems really keen. As much as it is about you, it's also going to be about her keenness. It's going to be coming from wider circumstances in her life. If she's demonstrating that she's keen to get to know you, it's also because she's in this right frame of mind to really go out and meet and connect with someone. That will change. She will either first of all, she'll meet someone from her past will come back on the scene, work will take over, she'll get busy with friends. Something will happen which will change her state of mind. So when you recognize that a woman is in the right frame of mind, she's really open, she's really friendly, it's like, great, how can I then capitalize on this and get her phone number? Just because once you've got that phone number in the bag, it's so much more solid than just a match on a dating app. So on the next slide, I've got an example for you of a message conversation, and I want you to write in with how you might use the woman's response that's given to create a date suggestion. So you say, so did you manage to sort out your pot plants this weekend? So it's not exactly riveting chat, but it's getting there. She says, I can be a bit forgetful, managed a bit and baked. How about you? So again, what we're looking for here is how can we take this relatively boring message, which is typical of a message you'll receive online, and how can you then translate that into a more interesting direction for the conversation and an ask out? So where can we go with this? So James says, would you describe yourself as open-minded and open and willing to try new things? Okay, so James, your strategy there is to ask a big and interesting question to see if that garners a kind of more invested emotional response from her. Tayson says, what did you bake for me? So Tayson is kind of being a little bit cocky funny here. And also, I think creating an idea that trying to build a bit of flirtation, that maybe she's baked something for him. Tayson also suggests giving her some appraisal, some validation by saying, I love women who bake. What should we bake together? No pun intended. Alan says, how about you treat me to one of your cakes this weekend? I have a bit of a sweet tooth. Okay, so I like where this is going, Alan, because I think what Alan is trying to do, which is a smart strategy, is leverage what topics are coming up in the conversation and somehow link that to the idea of a date. Kevin, did you switch the oven off or did you forget? So Kevin's been playful, which again, I think is a good way to develop attraction. Ben's gone, could bake a bun in the oven. Might be a bit sexual, Ben. So cruelty to plants, but you bake me a cake, happy days. So I'm loving some of these suggestions. So I just want to pick up on some of the points which I think are really working. So we know that playfulness is a great strategy. And I'm going to be giving you some ideas about, if you, like some of you on here, you are witty and you've come up with some playful suggestions already. But if you think actually, oh no, Hayley, I find playfulness difficult. Later on, I'm going to give a bit of a system for how you can develop playfulness. I think the other real take-home point from the guys that have written something in is this idea of, look at what topics have arisen in the conversation and think, how can I flip that towards a date? Kevin says, playfulness builds comfort and leads to less flakes in my experience. Definitely. I think I would argue that when you're even writing your online dating profile, being playful in how you express yourself is arguably more important than the actual content of your profile, because rather than listening to the details about who you are, the fact you write in a playful tone says that you are going to be fun to hang out with, you're socially well adjusted, you're cool, it's easy to communicate with you. So playfulness demonstrates a lot of really good, attractive qualities about you, which also make her feel like if she went on a date with you, it wouldn't be awkward. So you're right. So flipping right back up to the top, you're right. There's kind of 3 threads of conversation here. There's the pot plants thing. There is forgetfulness, and there's baking. So those are the 3 trends that you can pick up on. And then it's how do you spin those topics up into a date? So some of you guys suggested baking together, bake off. What have you baked for me? One of my favorites is, do you bring cookies to a first date? So again, creating kind of a date suggestion around that. The pot plants, again, there's something there and I mean pot plants not as in pot plants that you smoke. I mean pot plants like house plants, if for the Americans out there. I should have thought more carefully about that. And the final thing is forgetfulness. And actually that's probably the biggest gem of the message, because when you're messaging women, you have to have your senses switched on and looking out for, when is she giving me clues as to who she is? When is she being more candid with me? Because when she's being more candid, that's where I'm getting this really good quality information about her. So if she says, I can be a bit forgetful, you could say, oh dear, we need to buy you a diary. So again, oh no, we need to buy, oh dear, we need to buy you a diary. It's kind of protective. It's masculine. It's creating a plan. It's, again, indicating towards spending some time together. So to recap, you want to keep it playful. You want to use a topic that's come up organically in the conversation and base a playful date suggestion around that. And if she does mention a personality quality, even if it's forgetfulness, that's a bit of gold dust there. And that's going to be a great topic to then structure the rest of your message around. Anyway, back to my semi-exciting announcement, peeps. I've written a texting ebook for the first time in ages. I've actually written one. It's massive. It's 70 pages long. It has so much strategy, so many examples in it. It is like, it's a beast. But I think if texting doesn't come fluently to you now, it's going to be really helpful. I hope that if you know my work, you'll also know that I am practical. I try and teach things in a way that's replicable. So it's not like you just use this example, there you go. It's like, how can you learn and develop these styles of conversation and texting for yourself, which are just a more effective way of communicating with women? So the cool news is about the texting ebook. It is free for members of my Hayley Quinn Club. So you don't even need to buy it. This is even if it's a sales pitch. You can just read it. It will be online next week. We're putting the final touches to it. If you're on my newsletter, you'll get an announcement about it. Why we're putting it into the Hayley Quinn Club is that this is my baby. I love it. It's because I'm a really big believer that coaching, it can be great if you have the resources, the time to do one-on-one coaching. I still work with people and I still love it. But I think there's a lot that can be learned through community and through moderating and helping each other out, just like we've done this evening. I think hopefully I've given some helpful suggestions, but I also think a lot of the guys on this session have also really contributed. And I hope that a lot of the learning has come from one another. So the Hayley Quinn Club, as I said, there's the forum. which I'm on at least 3 times a week, unless I'm on holiday. We've got amazing coaches that are on there every day. So you could just post a screenshot of your text message or your online dating profile or another question and get a response that day. Get this, there's over 100 hours of online video courses that I previously sold for hundreds of pounds are now in an online video library. So you could, and none of it's on YouTube. So if you can, again, if you've got the, what's the word? The self-motivation to watch and learn, all those resources are there for you. We do a 30 days of dating challenge. So if you kind of feel like your dating progress has been lagging, that's a great Kickstarter. And just new for September, we've got my texting ebook, which is in and of itself, I think, a super valuable resource, really detailed, designed for guys who want to learn and improve their skills, but it also gives tons and tons and tons of real life examples. If you're not already a member of the club, after this webinar finishes, a page will appear where you can join. It's £1 for a week's trial. And after that, it's £35 a month. So it's affordable. It's probably less than the cost of a coffee a day, or certainly less than the cost of one bad date. So I'd really highly recommend it. I'd also love you to read my texting ebook. So go check it out.